Get ready to journey to the treacherous Hell's Paradise, where death is not the end, but a mere beginning. We will follow Gabimaru the Hollow, a former assassin sentenced to die, as he risks everything to find the Elixir of Life in exchange for his freedom. We're only talking about the beginning of this adventure, featuring the first 3 episodes of the anime. Sentenced to death for his crimes, Gabimaru is given a chance to live again by Yamada Asaemon Sagiri, but he must venture to a dangerous island to find the Elixir of Life. With enemies lurking around every corner and the prize within reach, the stakes are higher than ever before. With danger at every turn and many seeking the same prize, will he triumph or meet his demise? Keep watching to meet the characters of Hell's Paradise and embark on this journey. It all begins with an executioner failing to behead a man named Gabimaru, to the shock of everyone present. Gabimaru claims that he can't die, has murdered countless people, and is a former shinobi for Iwagakure village. Gabimaru reveals to a woman, who is tasked with recording information from him, that he developed his superhuman body during his training days as a shinobi. Later, some men try to burn Gabimaru at the stake, but that doesn't work. Gabimaru tells the woman that he's not trying to resist death and wishes they could kill him. He lays out his tragic backstory, explaining that his village's chief killed his parents and trained Gabimaru himself to be a mindless killing machine. But Gabimaru doesn't seem to think this is tragic at all. He claims that he simply doesn't have any feelings about his upbringing, whether negative or positive. He's in this predicament because he wanted to leave the village, so he spoke with the chief and was given one final mission. He was set up to fail it and was captured. If there's anything or anyone that Gabimaru has feelings for, it's his wife, whom he left behind in the village. The chief had Gabimaru marry his daughter, a frail and sheltered girl. Gabimaru claims to hate her and her attempts to be kind to him or teach him proper etiquette. It's funny that his wife nagging him to take off his dirty shoes before he enters the house is more tragic to Gabimaru than the death of his parents. We discover that it's not that Gabimaru can't die, but that he's purposefully making the decision to dodge death at the very last second. Is it just his survival instincts, or does the seemingly emotionless Gabimaru have something to live for after all? It seems like the woman who was interrogating him has caught on to these feelings. The executioners take Gabimaru to the woman's quarters, where they reveal she's a sword tester named Yamada Asaemon Sagiri, an incredibly proficient executioner from the Yamada clan, known for beheading criminals with a single blow. This would be good news to someone who wanted to die, but Gabimaru breaks out of his bindings in a panic. Sagiri claims that as a seasoned executioner, she's seen countless people's last moments. Some put on a brave face until right before the end, some plead for their life, and some claim to have accepted death when in fact they haven't. Sagiri believes Gabimaru belongs to this last group and that he actually loves his wife. Gabimaru has convinced himself that he's a heartless monster that could never live like a normal man. As he dodges Sagiri's attempts at killing him, we see a flashback of Gabimaru's wife teaching him about kindness and telling him that he's not as bad as he thinks. Gabimaru wanted to live a quiet life with her and leave his job as an assassin, but the chief wouldn't allow this, so he set him up to fail his last mission. Seeing an opportunity, Sagiri reveals that Gabimaru can be pardoned for all his crimes if he travels to Shinsenkyo and obtain the Elixir of Life, said to grant immortality. The shogunate has sent many people to retrieve it, and no one has returned human. If Gabimaru wants to reunite with his wife, he must compete against other convicts for the elixir. After hearing her tale, the men turn against Sagiri, but Gabimaru demonstrates his ninjutsu capabilities and uses his ninpo, ascetic blaze technique, to wipe out his enemies. Gabimaru accepts Sagiri's offer, and they head out to Edo. We see Sagiri reflecting on her past and her goal to duplicate her father's perfect beheading stroke of a storyteller who was condemned to death. Her father's stroke was so smooth that the storyteller continued to finish his story even after he had been beheaded. As she grows older and executes people, she struggles with succeeding in the male-dominated field of executions and coming to terms with the fact that she has taken so many lives. Gabimaru and Sagiri arrive near Edo to meet the shogunate Tokugawa Noriyoshi and the other condemned criminals, all blindfolded. They're told that they will go to the island while accompanied by a monitor, whom they must return with or give up the reward. It's revealed that there are too many of them, so they must first fight to secure a trip to the island. They engage in a brawl, but nobody dares lay a hand on Gabimaru, knowing of his reputation. Meanwhile, Sagiri's ally, Aizen, questions her ability to handle the brutality and wonders if a woman can be suited for the role of an executioner. Sagiri replies that being part of the Yamada clan meant that she would always be connected to death, so she made the best of it by completely dedicating herself to executions. Gabimaru casually approaches Nariyoshi and his men, asking if there is another way to remove people from the trip, arguing that not all criminals are killers because they chose to be. This statement is met with hostility, and Nariyoshi orders a criminal from the crowd to kill Gabimaru. Despite his apparent pacifism, Gabimaru is still very much a killing machine, and he retorts by showing off his insane amount of power and killing the other criminals left and right, leaving everyone in awe. Nariyoshi's men call off the battle and name the 10 criminals who will attend the expedition to Shinsenkyo. In the end, Gabimaru, Sagiri, and the others arrive at Shinsenkyo on a boat. We see Gabimaru reflecting on the chief of Iwagakure's immortality and theorizing that he likely got it from the Elixir of Life. As he and Sagiri continue their journey through Shinsenkyo, Gabimaru removes his bonds, but Sagiri warns him to rebind his hands, reminding him she's not his ally and has no qualms about executing him. As they travel, one of the criminals, Keiyun, attacks Gabimaru. Gabimaru notices that Keiyun's hands aren't bound, prompting Sagiri to ask Keiyu's monitor, Kisho, why she had broken the rules. Kisho responds that Sagiri is too much of a stickler for rules and that she shouldn't care so much about them. Keiyun is furious that Gabimaru is ignoring him and doesn't want to fight, though Keiyun feels it's best to eliminate his opponents now and find the elixir later. Before they engage in combat, Sagiri tells Gabimaru to bind his hands before the fight, rubbing it in Kisho's face that she's confident that Gabimaru will win even while playing by the rules. Gabimaru ultimately defeats Keiyun. Kisho reveals that other criminals have been attempting to reduce their competition during the journey to Shinsenkyo, whether by forming alliances, tricking each other, or killing their monitors. This plants the seed of doubt in both our main characters' heads, making them distrust the other. After Kisho leaves, Gabimaru suddenly attacks Sagiri, believing that it's only logical to remove her from the equation as she will force him to play by the rules when that's not efficient. Despite knowing Sagiri is a hindrance, Gabimaru hesitates to kill her. In a flashback, the chief shows baby Gabimaru his dead family and argues that love between parents and children shows weakness, and you can't protect anyone if you're weak. Gabimaru eventually corners Sagiri, but his wife's lesson of kindness and humanity stop him from killing her. At the same time, Gabimaru worries that his weakness and hesitation will prevent him from seeing her again. As our two main characters face off, Tamiya and his monitor stumble upon a human-faced bug, which stings Tamiya's hand. He chops off his hand, which then transforms into a plant-like thing. Hostile creatures suddenly emerge from the shadows, and the episode ends with Gabimaru preparing for a fight. And that concludes our recap of the first 3 episodes of Hell's Paradise. So far, we've seen Gabimaru, a notorious shinobu sent on a mission to locate the Elixir of Life on a dangerous island with other criminals who are all vying for the same prize. Along the way, Gabimaru encountered Sagiri, a female executioner who is tasked with monitoring his moves on the island. Their uneasy alliance has been tested as they face off against other dangerous criminals and unexpected threats, all while struggling to stay alive in the treacherous terrain of Shinsenkyo. Through these first 3 episodes, we've seen glimpses of Gabimaru's past and the trauma that drives him to become the killer he is today. We've also seen him question his own morality and struggle with the weight of his actions. Meanwhile, Sagiri has shown hints of her own struggles with the rules and expectations of her role as an executioner, leading to tension between her and Gabimaru and their budding camaraderie. With the introduction of new threats and the revelation of a potential power struggle within the Asaemon clan, the stakes have only been raised higher as Gabimaru and Sagiri continue their quest for the Elixir of Life. We can't wait to see what happens next in this intense and thrilling anime series. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.